Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. The Monster Project is a 2017 found footage style movie, and it's a movie that I've been quite looking forward to seeing. I saw the first trailer, I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, and I thought it looked very interesting. And I think if movies like this are done right, found footage movies, they can be really, really entertaining. Um, So I've been quite anticipating this one, and it's directed by Victor Matthau, and it stars Toby Hemingway, Justine Bruning, and Muriel Zucker. And this film basically tells the story of some amateur filmmakers who, for a living, they like to do um, supernatural pranks, post them onto YouTube, and watch the views go up, and they're hoping to get famous and rich by doing it. Um, but what they decide to do, they come up with something called a Monster Project, and essentially what that is they decide to interview three seemingly real monsters, people who claim to be monsters, a demon, a vampire, and a skinwalker, a werewolf. So they put this advertisement out to interview these real monsters, etc. And then we're treated to 10, 15, 20 minutes of setup and so supposed character building. And the crew is basically the host. Then you've got his sidekick, Jamal, who's like the cameraman. And then you've got Brian, who's a recovering drug addict, who's the sound guy. And then you've got the woman, who's the love interest for the host of the show, or ex-love interest, but also Brian, the sound guy, has got some love interest with her as well, and she's the director. So they decide to put this project together. They hire a spooky house, they get everything set up, get all the props set up, you know, the stakes, the holy water, all that kind of stuff, just to add to the authenticity of it. And they invite these monsters, who all turn up, and they start interviewing them. And this wouldn't be much of a horror movie if it didn't all go pear-shaped fairly quickly into proceedings. And essentially, these guys are spend the rest of the night trying to stay alive in a house they can't get out of, full of creatures that they soon discover are real. So that's the story they get here. That's the setup, and it's a very good, interesting, very good idea that probably worked on paper to a certain degree, but it does fail on some levels. Now, I'm going to give you my issues with the movie first before I go on to the positives, because there are a lot of positives. Now, some of my issues with the movie are in regards to the characters. The sidekick, Jamal, is as annoying as you could ever want a character to be. He's like a Kevin Hart wannabe, but he's just not funny. It was a very cliched character, and I didn't work. In fact, all of the characters in the movie, the protagonists, they're all pretty unlikable on certain levels. You know, you've got a recovering drug addict who isn't particularly nice, the woman who you don't really see an awful lot of, and the host who just seems a bit smarmy and cocky, and you're not very likeable, so they don't give you a lot to root for initially. Um, the setup for me felt a bit unrealistic. Okay, now you could compare this movie to some other reasonably recent movies like Digging Up the Marrow, and We Go On, the supernatural movie where the guy wants to find out if ghosts are real and things, and he does a very similar thing. He advertises for people to prove to him if ghosts are real or not. And Digging Up the Marrow is a guy very similar to this, goes on the hunt to find if monsters are real. But both of those, it's a real struggle to find the truth. But these guys put one advertisement out and they get three monsters replying, and they're all a genuine article. It's just a bit unbelievable, in my opinion. The skinwalker that turns up to be interviewed is actually a Native American who's a police officer at his reservation, who seemingly doesn't like being a skinwalker. Um, so I can really fathom no reason as to why he's there. He's a police officer, so he's sworn to protect. He turns up to this interview on a full moon, knowing damn well what's going to happen. Why would a police officer do that? Unless he was out to kill people for fun, but he was a police officer. And when they were interviewing him, the reasonings he was giving didn't really make sense as to why he was there. That was a bit of a niggle for me. So they are all niggly stuff. They don't ruin the movie, but they just kind of get under your skin a little bit. Then the movie had such potential. These things weren't properly thought out, I don't think. But when they start interviewing the creatures, or the people that turn into the creatures, and it all kicks off, that's when this movie really, really impressed me. The horror elements were very good, the effects were very good, very frightening. The camera work was manic enough to confuse you but not irritate you. So you just saw enough what you needed to see, and then it all got a bit crazy again in regards to, you know, the camera and the dark and things like that. The panic of the characters, the actors and the characters felt real. The tension felt real. And it did genuinely make me jump and scared me more than a couple of times, this movie. So I think after the first 20 minutes, half an hour, the film really takes off, and it becomes a very, very effective horror movie. The ending I had a bit of an issue with. It was a bit of The Last Exorcism, if you remember that movie. It felt a little bit like that. Don't know why they went that. I don't know if they didn't know how to end it, so they went this way. Don't know if it's to set up sequels. I'm not sure what the ending meant or why they went down that route. It didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. That's not to say it's a bad ending, because I don't think it's terrible. I think it betrayed what they'd already laid out in the rest of the movie a little bit. The villain reveal wasn't as impactful as I would have liked, but I have to say I really, really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was an effective horror movie, but it has issues. And anybody that saw the trailer, this thing looked the real deal when you saw the trailer. And ultimately, as some Hollywood blockbusters fail to do, it failed to deliver. But you can forgive a movie like this because of its smaller budget, a little bit more than, you know, things like The Mummy that, you know, failed on a lot of levels and cost how much to make? 200 million, 150 million? You know, this, I don't know, might have been just a couple of million to make. So we can forgive it some of its problems, I think. And if you're looking for a really half decent, effective horror movie, you can do far worse than watching this, that's for sure. So I hope you enjoyed the review. Thank you very much for watching.